Let's jump into that first story. Breaking news. Court orders Jussie Smollett released from jail during his appeal after just 6 days in prison. Disgraced Empire actor Jussie Smollett will be released after serving just 6 days. Judges sided with his lawyers, who argued that he would be finished with his sentence before the appeals process was complete. He was sentenced to 150 days after being convicted of 5 felony counts of disorderly conduct for falsely reporting a racist and homophobic attack in 2019. Smollett could have served just 75 days with good behavior. He had been kept in psychiatric care in a restraint bed in the Cook County Jail. Yikes, man. So as many of you are probably aware, he started yelling, "I'm not suicidal," over and over again, which made many of us believe that he was. Mm-hmm. And we did mention this briefly on the show. We mentioned it last time a little bit. My view, and I think this is what you were saying, we agree, he was actually suicidal. And by saying he wasn't, he was hoping that people would think it was a conspiracy. Because I got to be honest, his life's over. It's been over. He's a joke.
Well, that's what I said on air a couple days ago when we first talked about the story. Granted, it's just speculation. We have no idea what his motives are, but it sounded to me like it was at least possible that this is something a person who's planning on killing themselves would say if they were a complete egomaniac who wanted people to think that there was some kind of conspiracy behind it.
No, there's something sociopathic about this guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you have someone that's able to literally like cry on demand and go into great detail about the entire hoax. I think this is really tragic, this whole news story, right? Because it's setting an example. The whole point of punishing these people is to show society what happens when you do something like this. And so he gets out of jail now after 6 days. There's going to be a lot more hoaxes. And I think that might actually be deliberate on the left's part, right? Like they don't want these hoaxes to go away.
There was a tweet from, I think it was Matt Walsh, and he had a bunch of tweets from like him and Andy No, and he was basically saying that he couldn't, in almost every circumstance, these hate crimes where someone spray paints something, they turn out to be hoaxes. Mm-hmm. And then he shows this story in 4 parts, quote tweets from Andy No, him, and some other person. And, he says, I can't recall a single moment, it may have been Andy No said this, in recent memory of one of these turning out to be real. Someone responded with, "You should pay attention because this happened at Emory," and then posts a link. And then Andy No is like, the guy who did that was the guy who wrote the graffiti and the racial slurs was actually a black guy.
Yep.
So I got to be honest. Yeah, the only instance I can think of that was not a hoax was like some kids in New York used sidewalk chalk and made swastikas, and that was it. And it was like some little kids. So there was no real like direct attack on a store or a person. I'm like, no, I think that one was like actually, maybe I'm wrong about that. But there was that story I remember that was a former NFL player had a pizza shop and like a chicken shop. And then they were doing really bad. So he just ransacked them and then spray painted racial slurs. And then,
It happens. And the thing about these little kids, I remember in high school, my friends would prank me by drawing swastikas on my notebook. I'm not kidding. Like, it was like, yeah. And we had this whole thing of like,
edgy.
Oh, just turn it into windows, right? So like, little kids can't comprehend Nazism really. Like, they don't understand the gravity of the Holocaust and how terrible it was, and so like they prank each other with that, and it's usually either a really terrible prank from someone that's super immature or a total hoax where someone's trying to get more attention or get away with fraud.
I think it's people just trying to get attention. How many churches have been vandalized? I mean, you've probably seen these stories, right?
Yeah, of course.
They'll put racial slurs in the parking lot, and then it was just like, it was someone from the church staging a hoax.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's disgusting stuff. I'm sure a couple of years ago, you guys remember there was this story at Mizzou, and within one of the bathroom stalls, someone had drawn a swastika using fecal matter. And we were told that this was a neo-Nazi attack instead of, first of all, extremely unbalanced, mentally ill person to draw anything with fecal matter. But somebody who's actually a Nazi is not going to depict their like sacred, cherished symbol with human crap.
Right.
But the conclusion, oh my goodness, this is a hate crime. It was very bizarre. Instead of like, wow, what a bizarre, disgusting thing to do, it was, this is white supremacy.
Yo, it's hard sometimes waking up and being like, oh, that's the news again. Mm-hmm. Because it keeps happening. Yeah, with these stories, and it's remarkable that, what really is just, it's kind of depressing. Jussie Smollett's being released. We thought we got him. We got him. He was arrested. He was caught. We knew it. He goes through trial. He is mocked and ridiculed. More evidence comes out. It seems like a clear-cut slam dunk case. finally convicted. Then we await sentencing, and we're like, please, just for once, lock one of these people up. And they're like, okay. And let him out 6 days later.
Well, what are you taking out? What are you offering odds on that he gets another another acting gig? Hollywood's going to take him back. I mean,
Yes.
I would
You think
take
so?
I would take 1-to-1 odds on that.
Really?
Yeah.
Definitely,
I wouldn't be shocked.
1-to-1 odds?
Yeah, or 1-to-1. I would take 1-to-1 odds that he gets some type of new TV deal or
Yes.
music. He'll come and repair his image. This is what they do. He'll have a whole apology tour, right? He'll come out and say he was sorry. He realized what he did and how bad it was. And then he starts making millions again.
It doesn't 1-to-1 mean that you'd put up money and win nothing if you were right?
No. I mean $1 for $1, right? So I plus 100. So
Is that what it is? That's 2-to-1 though, isn't it?
No. 2-to-1 is I put up $1, and if I win, you pay me $2.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
You sure? Okay.
I don't.
Yeah,
bet
I think you're
enough.
right.
Sorry.
Yeah, maybe. I haven't been to the casino in long enough. It's been actually a couple weeks. Yeah. So you think so? I kind of thought his career was over. I mean, he's a laughing stock, and
In a non-clown world, I think
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
over. But we live in
exactly.
clown world.
that's true.
Well, I mean, and also, so I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Brian Peck, but he was convicted, I believe, of raping a child, and he was brought back to work at Disney after he served his sentence. So, oh no, I'm sorry. So yeah, ABC/Disney hires convicted child molester Brian Peck to work on children's TV show 1 year after he's released from prison. So the idea that they're above hiring Jussie Smollett is
Yeah, that's true. And they gave was it Roman Polanski?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and who's the other
Goldberg.
guy? Who's the other guy? What's his face?
The newer guy, right? Who was joking about pedophilia on Twitter.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Does all the
no.
Marvel?
The other guy with the glasses.
Oh, I can't remember.
What's his name?
I don't
He's
know.
a famous guy.
Famous guy with glasses?
I don't know.
I got nothing.
The
Sorry.
director, producer, whatever.
Steven Spielberg.
No.
That's
I'm
what
kidding.
came up with.
I don't want to
come on,
start
how do
rumors.
I don't know enough about movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, like with Whoopi Goldberg, they brought her right back. And I'm still flabbergasted by the fact that Andrew Gillum is still a name in political circles after what happened with him. Absolutely insane.
Is he really?
He's still around. Yeah, he's rehabbing his
Wow.
image. He's repairing his marriage after that.
That's why sometimes I say like I wake up and I see the news and I'm just like, how about we go and talk about donut factory instead, because
Yeah.
it's just I'm sick of how do people believe this stuff at this point? How do we sit back and allow these kind of things to happen? And it's just kind of mind numbing.
Yeah, well, Ian mentioned this the other day that I'd said to him, the way I define elite is as a person who's never going to face any consequences for their actions. And we see that in the case of Jussie Smollett. He was sentenced, but then he's let go after serving 6 days. So honestly, I guess those are more harsh consequences than a lot of other people we would consider elite would ever end up facing. But we shouldn't be surprised that he's let go, because what he did was try to forward the narrative that they're constantly trying to promote in the media.
Woody
which is that
Allen.
Racist.
Oh,
white
Woody
yeah.
people.
Allen.
Didn't he
That's
do
right.
something?
with his
Yeah.
sister, with daughter or
Oh,
something?
yeah.
There
That's
was something
weird.
really screwed up with him.
Yeah.
People are mentioning James Gunn too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that's
But James Gunn was trying to be an edgelord and failing.
Ugh,
He thought he was
cringe.
posting, obscene jokes about children would be funny, and people were like,
Gross.
"Bro, that's gross stuff. Don't do
Right.
that." So it's different if you think you're being edgy, and it's not, and it's bad. Like I'll be like, "Bro, that was bad. Don't do it again."
I think that's right.
But like Roman and Woody and Jussie
Legit.
Smollett and
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of like, yo, those people shouldn't be welcome back in this place.
Yeah.
That's cancel culture. Jussie Smollett
No.
should be canceled.
Exactly. Well, this is hilarious because every single time anyone on the right points out that a person has done something terrible, the left goes, I thought you were against cancel culture, as if that's any kind of point against our argument that you shouldn't comb through someone's tweets from 12 years ago and then try to cancel them because they said men are men.
Right.
That race car driver's dad who said the Edward in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so sponsors canceled him.
He
So-
wasn't
That's
even
so
born.
insane.
Some things should be canceled, right? Like there's
Yeah.
a reason why we have laws in prison, and like some things should have a stigma to them.
Yeah, but I think the problem is it always comes back to this one issue where it's just, institutions and even conservatives take these people seriously. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, why? Stop contracting with them. Stop working with them. Stop servicing them. Stop hiring them. Stop being hired by them. Just tell these unserious people to go away. Like if there was a comic book store, like a game shop, and I see the big BLM fist, I keep walking.
Yep.
And I'm like, I look up on Google and it's like, we sell Magic the Gathering cards and comic books. I'm like, I'm going to go check it out. And I show up and they see a big sign in the window and I just turn right back around, get my car and leave.
Yep.
I'll order it online, dude. I'm not going to give any service to these unserious psychotic cultists. No, I'm sorry. These people are the reason Jussie Smollett gets away with this.
Right.
These are the people who cheered for every single hoax every time.
They always fall for it, and it's not
Are
even
they
they're falling
falling
for it.
for it? Right.
No. It's part of the plan, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, they continue. But I have a point I want to make about falling for it.
No, I just think it's part of their plan. They want division. They want chaos. They want us withdrawing from society and not participating, right? And I think that it's really important not to fall trapped to that, but also to figure out how to not support them and give them legitimacy.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I think you're right that they don't fall for it, because to them it does not matter whether something is true or false. What matters is whether it maps onto their ideological worldview, because then in some subjective sense it's poetically true, so it's okay for them to promote it, and it forwards their goal, which is overall good and noble. The people who fall for it are the conservatives, who don't immediately say this sounds ridiculous and is probably BS, because we're afraid that there's some slight possibility that it's a true story, and we don't want to be labeled racist the one time it may have actually happened.
You know what I think? I agree with you. I don't know if Jussie Smollett is going to get work, right? So they're going to let him out of jail. Maybe his appeal just fails and he goes back to jail. They're saying it's only going to be 75 days, so 2.5 months with good behavior. I don't know if he gets rehired to act, but I would actually be willing to bet that he would get a reality TV show following the saga. I mean, people will watch it.
Or not?
That's
Why
all
not a
that matters.
CNN gig, right?
Yeah.
Or MSNBC. I mean, that's how fundamentally unserious those networks are.
Yeah.
I don't know about CNN. I think it would be interesting to see them bring him on because he's friends with Don Lemon. Mm-hmm. But they CNN, as bad as they are, they don't want to punch holes purposefully in their ship as it sinks.
Well, here's the thing.
But hold on, look. What A&E or AMC or whatever? What's the channel that does the weird
A&E?
A&E?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be like Jussie Smollett reality show, and it's gonna be him sitting down and be like, "I didn't do this. I gotta call my lawyer," and they're gonna follow him around. People would watch that because they hate him. Mm-hmm. So that's his opportunity, and he's gonna
write a book. Yeah,
I will write a book if I did it.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna do if I did it. He's gonna have his whole OJ tour. He's gonna go find the real hoaxer.
Yeah.
I think that you guys are underestimating how good of an actor Jussie is. He's just gonna slip into He's gonna slip into a new life somewhere, become a different person, and he's just gonna blend in wherever he is because he's talented that way. And then there's gonna be some beloved celebrity 20 years from now who everyone worships, and he's gonna go, "It was I all along, Jussie, and I fooled you with my incredible acting skills."
Isn't it crazy though? I mean, look at when he went on. Was it ABC? How he was it ABC did the interview?
I think 60 Minutes or something.
60 Minutes. He manufactures perfectly these tears. This performance.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He is one of the greatest actors
of all time.
Of all time. Yeah,
that was the whole thing. He's just he proved. I mean, the whole thing was a demo tape for him.
He comes out and he's like, "I want to admit that I staged the whole thing, and the trial, that was the performance.
That was the performance.
I'll be in jail. I'll be out in 2 months. Call my agent."
Very avant-garde piece of art.
Do you remember when Joaquin Phoenix did that thing?
No.
He quit acting, and then started rapping. And everyone was like, "What is he doing? What's happening?" And then it turned out that it was a big stunt.
Yep, I remember that.
That's probably Jussie Smollett's best bet. It was a big stunt.
I was just joshing, you guys. I was joshing around. All right, I wasn't serious.
He'd probably go to jail for a lot longer if he said that.
Can you imagine?
I mean, the funny.
I don't think so. No, I don't think he's ever going to see prison time.
No, I think actually, if he admitted that he did it and it was a hoax and he did it for acting, he'd get less time.
He'd get an Oscar,
he would get less time in jail. Because he's getting 150 days, even though he's refusing to admit what he did was wrong.
Yeah,
he's still denying it. So they're giving him that penalty. The idea is there's something called the trial tax. You go to trial, you get a harsher penalty because the idea is really that you're wasting the court's time, so they punish you. Mm-hmm. But the idea is supposed to be that you haven't learned your lesson, so you need more time in jail.
Well, and then to put it cynically, the other idea is if we make people feel more afraid to go to trial, then we can just sentence people for crimes without actually having to give them their day in court.
Yeah, so they'll pick him back up, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's not something we would ever put past them.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Isn't it depressing though?
I guess. I mean, if you ever had any hope in Hollywood, I suppose.
Or the legal system. I think the bigger
that's
thing.
Fair. That's fair.
Oh man.
But it's also Chicago. I mean,
yeah, that's fair.
I'm from Illinois, so it's
Yeah,
It's tough.
as are we. It is
Yep.
an
Oh, yeah,
interesting
Illinois
place.
boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be just? It would just be so funny if it turns out that this really did happen and the cops staged all the evidence to like, just make him look bad.
It's like the worst white supremacist hate crime that's ever taken
Turns
place
out
in
that
all
the
of
two
history.
white dudes who attacked Jussie were actually like off-duty cops.
Goes all the way up to Trump. Even higher.
And-
Goes all the way up
yeah.
to Putin.
And it actually is MAGA country, and we're making fun of this poor guy.
No one tells you this, but Cook County, very red. Very, very red.
Incredibly
Cook
red.
County?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep red.
Cook County?
Yeah. Cook
It's just
County,
the city,
Illinois,
right?
Extremely red. No, it's a little bit outside of the city.
Yeah.
Some of the suburbs are Cook County.
Well, Illinois itself is red.
Yeah.
Just you go in Chicago.
It's true. Well, who is it that said there are no red or no blue states, only blue cities?
Yeah.
I think it's
That's
true.
right.
It's true, and there are red cities, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting thing about Chicago is that it's not even blue; it's zombie. You have like Illinois. Growing up in Chicago, you have the zombie contingent and the Republican contingent. And Republicans, they can vary from very ignorant to very knowledgeable. But the people in the cities who are voting Democrat are the zombie contingent, 99%. And that's what I grew up around. People who are just like, vote blue no matter who. And I'm like, who are you voting for? Don't care. As long as it's not a Republican. And I'm like,
Yep.
the city has been run by Democrats for 80 plus years, and it's worse than ever.
No, it's doing really well.
Just worse than ever.
It's going great.
And it's funny
Okay.
too
Me,
because
Tim.
we used to have. Do you guys know what elotes is? It's like so on the south side of Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
These guys pull up with carts full of corn. And they'll take the corn and they put mayonnaise, Parmesan, and cayenne pepper on it, and you eat it.
So good.
Or I would always have them. They cut the corn off into a cup and mix it with mayonnaise, Parmesan, and cayenne, and they had it to. It was like
So
$1.
good.
They got banned in our neighborhood.
Terrible.
But only like they couldn't cross Cicero on the south side because when you cross, so this is the fascinating thing about the Midway area, from like Harlem to Cicero, which is a few miles, from 47th to like 63rd was a generally white Polish immigrant and like whiter area. When you crossed 47th to the north side, it was all black community, all black housing. When you crossed Cicero, it became all like Latino. So the city, for some reason, banned the elotes guys from coming into our neighborhood, but they could still, like, they couldn't cross Cicero. And that was the weirdest thing to us because we were like, so the guys who sell corn, who are Hispanic, can stay in the Hispanic neighborhood, but we like the corn. We love those
want it.
guys. They took it away from us. It's almost like they wanted the segregation in that
Yes.
city.
And here's the funny thing is like there are certain things that like break down cultural divides, right? Like it's food, it's music, it's movies, literature, and I do think there's something to that. Like this whole like anti-cultural appropriation thing is really meant to keep us from participating in other cultures and being open to it and breaking down those barriers. Like Cinco de Mayo is a great holiday because everyone likes tacos, and it's not like denigrating to like the Mexican community to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Like it's a good thing to participate. Catholics are really good about this, right? Like
Yes,
we
we are.
take
Thank
over and baptize all these like pagan holidays and make them ours, and it's
ours.
beautiful. It's
Well,
how
that's colonization.
And we're not
That's
giving
right.
them back.
Oh, shit.
ever.
Ever.
You guys
Not even
worshiping
Christmas.
trees.
That's what we're told.
Not even Christmas.
Which I didn't know. I've had people tell me that. They're like, when you worship Easter, you're worshiping a fertility god. It's like, I didn't know that. Wow, interesting. I didn't know that. I guess. Well, but I guess you know better than me what I'm doing on
Yeah,
Easter.
surprise.
So thank you.
You didn't realize that
I
you
didn't
were
realize.
you didn't catch yourself when you were praying that you were actually saying fertility goddess.
I know, it's crazy. It's
like you were saying those words.
But yeah, no, it's true that there are a lot of things from other cultures that can be sanctified, and people from different cultures are able to relate to each other. And part of the problem is because racial tensions are so high and we have really stoked the flames of genuine hatred along ethnic lines, people are afraid not only to participate in other people's cultures, but to even engage in humor that might be targeted towards other groups, even in a more playful way. And I find it interesting because I think you see this happen. Sometimes, every now and again, you'll meet that couple who make jokes about each other, but you can tell it's in like kind of a stabby sort of way. They're really being sort of crass and snide to each other, and it's very painful for everyone who's there. But then you have some couples who can kind of poke fun at each other, and it's really funny and everyone enjoys it. I think what happens is, as a relationship between two people or a group of people breaks down, humor goes from something which can be cherished and which is very endearing and helps bring them together, and it turns into something really insulting. And the same exact joke can be really funny coming from a person who you have a good relationship with, or really offensive coming from someone who you don't. And so I think I think breaking down racial relations, people ask why everything's so PC. I think a huge part of it is we just don't trust each other.
I was just thinking, about the cultural appropriation stuff and the protests. Remember that video where the girl at prom or whatever, she wore the
Chinese dress.
Yeah,
Yes.
what is it called?
A kimono?
No, that's
something different,
Japanese. It was a Chinese thing, and people in the chat will tell us what it was called. So I'm forgetting. And then people in China were like, "That's cool." Like they actually really liked it.
Yep.
And I was thinking about this. There's also the video where the guy's got dreads and the black girl like literally grabs him, and she's like, "You're stealing my culture," and he's like,
Yep.
"What are you talking about?" And then I'm like, "How come these people never protest Taco Bell?"
Yeah.
Why don't they show up to Panda Express?
Well, also as if like
No, for
there's
real, like,
one
yeah.
ethnic group that just owns dreadlocks.
Right.
That's not true, though. I mean, the Vikings had it.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. That's my point.
and I know a bunch of people in Scandinavian countries who have dreadlocks because of like they had dreadlocks. But it's like people have hair, dude.
Right.
People can do what they want to their hair. You
can't
don't
do
own
that.
hairstyles.
No, that's our due. Can't
No,
do that to your hair.
but
We
come on,
copy
like
intellectual property. It's
Yo,
ours.
Taco Bell bears no resemblance to actual Mexican food.
That's exactly right. That's
Hard
exactly
shell
right.
tacos, burritos aren't a Mexican thing, and cheddar cheese. What's going on here?
That nacho cheese is not cheese. It's terrible. It's powdered cheese.
Panda Express. Now I'll tell you, Taco Bell is delicious. It's almost worth the bowel obstruction. Panda Express is also delicious, but man, they're just chunks of sugary fried chicken, and it's
Yes.
but it's good. But I'm not going to pretend it's actually Chinese food. You
know
know,
what?
Thai food in this country is a sugary, fatty, Americanized version. The same thing with like all of these different foods, and you know what? People love it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if these people want to go, oh, cultural appropriation is wrong, stop ordering pad thai on Grubhub. I know you're doing it because it's like the #1 food on Grubhub, or it's in the top 5 or whatever. Pizza, it's Italian. What gives you the right? No one's protesting these things.
You know what? You ever notice that no one ever starts an Irish food chain, like an Irish food?
There's an
fast
Irish food
chain.
chain.
So terrible.
But that's not like a large national thing. You don't have it in you don't have a bunch of them in every single
It's like
city
a
or
chain.
state.
We have
Yeah.
Scottish.
We wish some people would appropriate that part of. Honestly, no. I'm glad that
We
that's
have.
discussed.
Why don't you make O'Donnell's?
No,
Oh,
oh my
Donald's.
gosh, that's the thing. McDonald's, it's an Irish name, and you go in there, it's
No,
like, this
it's
is not
Scottish.
Irish food. No, it's MC. It's when it's MAC, it's Scottish.
When I went to the
lowercase
UK,
c.
they told me it was Scottish.
What did those Brits say to you?
Yeah.
They were going to tell you more colonizer lies about Ireland, and you're going to believe them, bro? Are you serious right now?
Colonizer
Learn
lies.
your history.
Look it up. I think you're wrong.
Maybe. I hope not, because if we lose McDonald's, we have nothing left.
In the United States, I often have like a stupid dad joke where I tell people and they're like, "What do you want to get?" And I'll be like, "Do you guys want to get Irish food?" And they'll be like, "Oh yeah." And I'll be like, "There's a good place. It's McDonald's."
That's
and
good.
everyone laughs. I did that in the UK, and they all looked at me and they were like, "That's Scottish."
Oh,
and I was like, "No, it's MC." And they were like, "O is Irish. MC is Scottish." And I was like, "Is it?"
That's not true. No, MC is Irish. McNamara is my mother's maiden name, and they're all from Ireland.
Yeah.
MCs. Those
they were
Brits lied
colonizer
to you.
lies.
Those Brits lied to you. Yeah.
Of course they did.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.